Hi, sixth grade. Happy Friday. I'm really excited to read with you guys today and then to explore some vocabulary. Today we're going to start by reading San Francisco Treat in One Crazy Summer, and then you'll have a vocabulary assignment in the next YouTube video. I want to give you some reminders. First, when you're on the Google Classroom, if you click the tab in the top center, like there-ish, it's going to say classwork. When you click on that, you're going to see that I have made a do now sheet, a journal sheet, and also a comprehension question page for you on there. It's like a worksheet, so everybody has their own, and the only people that can see it are me and you. I'll be able to give you a grade and give you feedback on there. So if you're able to, I'd really like if you could please be typing your journal, do now, and comprehension questions. If you're unable to do that because you're doing your work off of your phone, I totally understand, and you can handwrite them as well. I'm going to keep continuing to send Miss LaRue papers to print for you guys for your packets. But if you are able to do it online, it's the same exact work. Next week on Friday, we're going to have a vocab quiz. So I'm just going to keep saying that to you guys, just like I would in real life. And today, you see, we're more than halfway done our book. Today, at the end of this chapter, we're going to sort of be ending the rising action, and we're going to be hitting that turning point or the climax of the book where all of these things are going to start falling into place and our conflict is going to start really, really getting intense and interesting. If this weekend you're like, oh my gosh, I have to keep reading, I can't stop, because you might when we see what's about to happen, go ahead and read ahead. All of the comprehension questions are posted, and then you can just watch me read it to you next week just so that you can hear my voice, and because smart people read things more than one time. Please join me on page 152. If you want, it could be nice for you to have a younger sibling join you right now. You can tell them what's happening in the book. You can let them look at your pages with you, and then I can have a chance to read to both of you. This is definitely a book that I think would be okay for second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade siblings. So if mom needs them to do something, have them join you for this. Page 152, San Francisco Treat. Cecile didn't care where we went or what we did on Saturdays and Sundays, as long as we stayed far away from her peace and quiet. On our first weekend, we had played Go Fish and Tic-Tac-Toe in our room and waited for Cecile to announce that we were going to some adventurous place that existed only in California. By the second weekend, I knew that we had to have a plan. Since the sun rose high on that Saturday, I figured it was a good day to go to the beach and to collect seashells for souvenirs. Vanetta, Fern, and I had put on our bathing suits and sunglasses, and I had asked Cecile to take us to the beach. I had never spoken Martian to someone and had them give me the look that could only be given to a Martian. Martian is like a person who lives on Mars, in case you don't know. Instead of answering our question, Cecile gave us a look that said, "Who are you and what planet did y'all come from?" I ended up taking my sisters to the city pool, where we swam and splashed around without thinking about all that chlorine water knotting up our hair. When we'd come back to our house smelling like chlorine, I had asked Cecile if I could use her hot comb to press our hair, seeing as how naughty it got. I'd expected that she would say no outright because I would smoke up her precious workplace with hair burning from the hot comb. In fact, I expected a no followed by an "I didn't send for y'all in the first place." It didn't occur to me that Cecile didn't own a hot comb or a curling iron, even though the fact was as big and thick as her unpressed braids. She said, "Naughty? Your hair ain't naughty. It ain't misbehavin'. It's doing what God meant it to do." That would have been news to Big Ma. We never entered the house of God without our hair pressed, smelling of Dixie peach hair grease. For our third Saturday in Oakland, I had a better plan. Check the timing. So they're on their third Saturday, so they've already been there for half of the month. We're going on an excursion. Miss Merriam-Webster would have been proud. Excursion. To Vanetta and Fern's uncomprehending faces, I said, "We're taking a bus ride to our own adventure." It didn't make sense to fly 3,000 miles to the land of Mickey Mouse, movie stars, and all-year sun, and not see anything but Black Panthers, police cars, and poor Black people. I wasn't foolish enough to set out for Hollywood, Disneyland, or the beach where they filmed Happening 68 with rock and rollers like Paul Revere and the Raiders. Instead, I planned that we would spend our nearly last Saturday in California traveling across the bay to San Francisco to ride in a cable car, to see Chinatown, Fisherman's Wharf, and the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, that was an excursion worthy of a back-to-school essay. Even if we didn't have a camera to take pictures of us on our adventure, we would know that we had been there. I told my sisters, don't say a word, just let me do all the talking, even though I knew Cecile didn't care. I didn't want her to suddenly take an interest in us and ask a lot of questions. If she asked a lot of questions, I would have to spin a lot of straw, and I couldn't spin a lot of straw and look her in the face the way I'd like to. Like I'm 11 going on 12, and I know what I'm doing. I noticed that there's an idiom in there. The idiom is spin a lot of straw. What does it mean when someone says they spin a lot of straw? Yes, Jahan. Correct. Spinning straw means telling a lie, all right? Cecile, we need money. I have all-day activities planned, and we have to eat while we're out doing our activities. Yeah, gotta eat. I turned to Fern. Don't say no more, Fern. She got it. If I pour cereal for them before we go, I said, I'll only need change for the bus and some lunch money, and a little extra if you want us gone long. Cecile almost raised an eyebrow, but not quite. She figured we were up to something, but probably didn't want to know the details. She reached into her man's pants and poured a lot of nickels, dimes, and pennies, and some quarters into my hands. I needed both hands to get every coin. She dealt out 11 single dollars from a wad of bills and gave me these also. I was so giddy about having all of that money, I just dumped it in my shoulder bag. I could sort it out later. Just by the weight of the silver and copper, I knew we had more than $15, more than the $15 I had counted on us getting. I ate my cereal and washed the dishes with my shoulder bag slung around my neck, Brooklyn style. The best way to lose your money is to hold your bag off the shoulder. But this way, with the bag slung crosswise, you're ready for anything. As we were walking out the door excited about our excursion, Cecile called out, I'm not coming down to no police station if you're out there stealing. Y'all have to spend the night in jail. That was as good as a be safe and have a good time as we were going to get from Cecile. We took it and we left. Outside, the yards and streets were filled with screaming kids playing. It was all I could do to keep Vanetta and Fern in line for my fully planned excursion. I had worked too hard writing everything down to have them not want to go. I had asked Sister Pat about the bus and the cable car. I had gotten all of the sightseeing information from the library. I wasn't about to let a kickball game and some Barbie tea parties throw mile-long pouts on Vanetta and Fern because they wanted to stay here in black, poor Oakland. Real quick, so Delphine to plan this trip used the library and Sister Pat. If we wanted to plan a trip where we needed to take a bus to Oakland, from Oakland to San Francisco, what resource would we use? The internet. So that's an interesting reminder. They didn't have the internet. It didn't exist yet. Remember, the internet didn't exist until I was 2 years old. I'm very old, I know. Then the worst thing possible happened. What? Hirohoto came rambling up to us on his homemade go-kart. He skidded to a stop using his high-top sneakers right at Vanetta's feet. She squealed and laughed and said, What you know, Hirohoto? That was some cute thing that she and Janice Ankton came up with. I was sick of hearing it. Delphine, want to watch me fly down the hill? No, I said while my sister screamed, Yes! I glanced at my Timex. Don't stand there watching Hirohoto on his go-kart, it said. The East Bay bus lives in 12 minutes, and you don't have time for that. Vanetta and Fern folded their arms and wouldn't budge. They watched Hirohoto do that run and flop onto the flying T and go bumpity-bump down the hill. When he neared the end of the hill, he dragged his sneakers like Fred Flintstone and came to a full stop. Then he jumped up and turned to us, waving. Vanetta and Fern waved back. Let's see him do it again, Vanetta said. It's a boy going down a hill, I said. We've seen it already. Let's go. I couldn't say that it was thrilling. How he jumped on that board thing and rolled down the hill, twisting the T left and right, then swerving it around. I couldn't say how I admired him for not crying about his father being in prison and for trying to be a normal kid. If you wanted to call Hirohoto Woods normal, I certainly didn't want Vanetta to get the wrong idea and think that I was stuck on Hirohoto as she and Janice were, because I wasn't. He was just a boy, and I didn't want to miss our bus for our adventure. Raise your hand if you think that Delphine has a crush on Hirohoto. Raise your hand if you think Delphine does not have a crush on Hirohoto. She does. She does. Spoiler alert. It's not a real spoiler. Chill. Page 157. Our bus pushed out of poor and black Oakland, where 3 lines formed for free breakfasts, and men stood around because there were no jobs and too much liquor. We were glad to be going. Each of us looked out and off into different directions, taking in all that we could. Finally, we were on our way to an adventure. I watched Fern, glued to the bus window and singing to herself. I wondered if she missed Miss Pattycake at all. How she loved Miss Pattycake long before she could walk. She teethed on Miss Pattycake's arm and leg, ate her hair when she didn't know any better, squeezed her, slept with her, fed her, and sang to her. 7 years of loving Miss Pattycake, and now not one mention of her. I can study every move Fern makes and still not completely know her. There are just things I don't understand about her the way that I understand Vanetta. After Miss Pattycake had been damaged and put away, I slept lightly, expecting Fern to awaken during the night, missing her true love. Not that I wanted Fern to be heartbroken. I didn't want her to love someone her whole life and then not love or want them at all, even if someone was a doll. That was no way to be. I wanted to say something to Fern, but then she cupped her hands around her mouth and squealed a, "Ooh," like she'd seen something bad, like a naked lady running down the street. It was that kind of, "ooh," squeal. I think that you guys know what that sounds like when someone gets in trouble and everyone's like, "oh." There's some of you that still do it. What, Fern? Her eyes stayed big, her hand over her mouth. Vanetta and I kept saying, "What, Fern? What, Fern?" She swallowed a gulp of air and uncupped her mouth. "I saw something." She said it again, and had gone from agog to being pleased with herself. "I saw something. I saw something." She clapped to the beat. Clap, 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 clap. No matter how much we asked, Fern shook her head no, clapped her hands, and sang her song. "I saw something." Fern was pleased that she had seen something. Vanetta was sure that she hadn't seen a thing. And I remembered that he had said, "Delphine, Delphine, do you want to watch me fly down the hill?" That's where our chapter ends for today. What do you think it means that Delphine is still thinking about what Hirohoto said to her? I agree. I think it means that she's got a crush on him, right? What do we think that Fern just saw? It's very confusing. I'm excited to answer some of those questions with you as we read next week. Right now, what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video or end it when it's done. I want you to go to the One Crazy Summer comprehension questions. My top choice is that you go to them on that classroom button I told you about before and that you type your answers in. My second choice is that you answer them on the worksheets that are in your binder. So choose which one works best for you and get to work on that. As soon as you're done the comp questions, please watch the video that is Friday, 6th grade vocabulary. Have a great time on the comp questions, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye.